You know, it's really nice is when we can just be together without being someone. In fact, that's when it's possible. When the filter that normally is seen through or perceived by is not in the way. We usually refer to that filter as me. I like to use fancy words. I also use that word intimacy to describe the union of being with another without the filter of me. There's a closeness or there's a heartfulness that's there. And even an empathetic sensitivity. So even though we may not have conversed, we know each other profoundly. I think that's really the depth of relationship that we often seek. The depth of relationship that is fulfilling. It's true that we find it in ourselves first, you might say, by discovering the process of awakening, the process of opening to your essential aliveness, your essential energetic presence, and beginning to realize that that's what we really are. And then as we learn to allow that and access it and, in a sense, cultivate it, you might say, more and more and more it is what we really are. It's where we live from. Even though, at the same time, we're, you might say, a unique individual with our own gifts, with our own processes, our own constructs, our own history and future and body, mind, heart, you know, all of it. But the perspective of that life from the bigger perspective of our essential nature transforms the personal life completely and gives it meaning and fulfillment in a way that isn't there until that gets integrated. I think often in the spiritual approaches in the past, there's been this emphasis on, you know, union with the divine and sort of sublimating the personal or, you know, putting aside our human nature in some way. As if somehow if we did that, we would realize the spiritual more readily. And even if in some cases that was helpful, in some sense it's only half a life. To have just that without the other is sort of not balanced. It's imbalanced. And vice versa. To just have the personal, the acquisitive, the competitive, the survival, functioning, conditioning, just that, you end up with what's happening here in San Francisco. You know, an overemphasis on the material, an overemphasis on the sort of surface. That was supposed to be funny, that other thing, but it wasn't, didn't really. I'll have to work on that one. It's just having grown up here, I'm so appalled at the overgrowth and extreme congestion that we're dealing with here in the city. Anyway, but that's kind of an imbalance, really, I think. That we want to find balance, which is a kind of relief. When we're balanced, we're light. We can dance, we can sing, we can explore and be creative and discover. We're not caught in defending, we're not caught in reacting. Not that we don't have those moments in the human experience where those are appropriate. You know? Otherwise, we can get too caught in this, even the spiritual identity. You know, the one who's not supposed to react. The one who's not supposed to get angry. The one who's not supposed to speak out. Well, there is a time to speak out. There's a time to take action. And when you're aligned with your true self and integrated with your personal self, then your life not only has meaning, but how you engage in the world is inspired. And I know that's what we all seek ultimately as human beings, is to live inspired. Even if it just means you continue exactly the same life that you have right now, doing exactly what you do, even if that's a very simple life, or if it's a very complex, multi-level life. Doesn't matter. You really are able to go with the flow. Whatever life delivers, especially when it's coming from left field, so to speak. Not expected, even challenging or frustrating or difficult. Somehow you find your way through the overwhelm, the difficulty, the, concern of it. Because that light that you are, that energy that you are, keeps bringing you back to the surface of reality, to the presence of reality. So your system naturally clears itself. It's important to learn how to facilitate that if needed. How to clear your personal self so you can really be a channel for the divine. The new book we're working on is going to have a whole thing on that, which is going to emphasize clearing and grounding and integrating and expansion. It's great to plug into awareness. That is the fundamental transformative light. It really is. But there is human work to be done. And when you find out how to do the human work, which doesn't strengthen the separate self, but it really facilitates the healing of the heart and the opening of the channels of the body. So you're clear. So you're a clear channel for the light. Then you can really integrate profound change without it being destabilizing. So, in my private work as a healer, which I have for how many decades now? I don't know, a long time. As I've, been trained and practiced a number of areas that I bring into this work because it actually facilitates awakening. That's why there have been really helpful practices for thousands of years. So it's learning how to approach those and work with things like the breath and body awareness, mindfulness, sensitivity awareness, those kinds of things really are powerful. Learning how the breath actually is the vehicle for chi, for prana, ki, that's the essence of qigong and tai chi and yoga, is the connection, is that connection with energy and breath, the importance of breath. Even on a human level, to take a deep breath and to release it can help begin to clear buildup of sort of conditional energy in the system. Just a natural sigh breath or a yawn, or crying, laughing, all these things are natural clearing movements of the human body. So it's okay to work on yourself in a way. Some people think when they learn that awareness is it, they hear that, think, well, I can't do therapy anymore, I can't do body work anymore, I can't do yoga anymore. Well, of course you can. All you have to notice is how you're approaching it and how you're doing it. Is it facilitating more separateness, more isolation, or the opposite? Is it facilitating an opening, a sensitivity, a vulnerability, a connection? Simply put, how are you right now? Are you just here? Are you pulling in, closing down, pushing away, or opening? And as you tune in, as you listen in, as you sense in, as you watch, you can tell what's happening. And after a while, you begin to be able to follow the natural opening of your being, because your being naturally radiates and opens. That's why when people move into full awakening, usually it's preceded by fear, because the organism is terrified that it's losing control. So, feel that opening, notice that opening, open to that opening. There's no one doing that. There's no one pushing it. It's a kind of opening to that opening is another way of saying allow surrendering into the light. It's not a stasis. It's not a heldness. It's a movement. It's like radiation. It's like a radiance. You might feel your heart opening more. You might feel your gut opening more. Your throat opening more. I mean, with the breath, often also it comes is the importance of expression. Because we are expressive beings. We need to express ourselves. Most of us have been conditioned to hold back what we felt. We weren't allowed to speak our truth. We had to survive. We had to cope. We had to get by. We had to belong. We had to achieve. So we learn to block our throats. And the throat chakra and the heart chakra, they're connected. The lungs are, and the breath, the lung energy and the heart energy, they're connected. So when you work with the breath, you also open the heart. You also start opening all the emotional movements that may have been blocked. That's why a lot of the healing practices work with deep breath. Many. To help loosen up those kind of energies. So being able to express also, and when I say express, I don't mean just chattering, just mind movement, but really a kind of heartfelt vibration of speech, where when you speak, it moves, it facilitates an energetic opening in you. And it actually facilitates awakening. That's what speaking the truth is. And of course, many of us have grown up in, meditation practices and silent retreats, and you're not supposed to talk. It's like, there's silence. And something in you is like yelling, crying, complaining, freaking out. It's important to get that energy to move. So that's another area of clearing and integrating that leads to expansion, is finding out how to express yourself. Because to truly express yourself means to be truly heard. And most of us weren't heard. So we find out how to listen to ourselves, and hopefully we have others who can listen profoundly. Because then when we speak our truth, it is transformative. That's what happens here. When it's working, that's what happens. You're not like coming up and telling your story. That's some head trip. You might start there at the beginning and then drop in. That's okay. But it's that you're putting your cards on the table. You're actually expressing the truth of the condition, and that itself liberates. Not fixing it, figuring it out, or getting rid of it, or changing it miraculously. That's why they say the answer is in the question. Because when you really can ask a question, or make a statement even, it doesn't have to be a question. You could just simply say a truth if it's your reality. It's too much for me. And that, if that was really your truth, that could free you. And all of a sudden there's space. All of a sudden the sun's shining. All of a sudden there's fresh air. It's like you're reborn in the moment. So the human work that I talk about absolutely is no separate from spiritual work. There's no separation. How could there be? That's dualistic thinking. That non-dual means that your human reality and your infinite reality are absolutely connected. They're one. The kinds of instructions that I give are often, I think, sometimes misunderstood, because part of what's built into them is be creative and play with it. Try different approaches and see what's working, rather than putting yourself in a locked, cage of how it's supposed to be, or how you've heard it's supposed to be, or what you're supposed to do, or, you got to make sure you're doing it right and all that. You don't have to worry about whether you're doing it right. Just keep finding how it is right now. That's all. Because however it is right now, if you're paying attention, if you're really sensitive and listening and open, it will lead you to the truth. Always. It will lead you back to the source of being. And really, it is true that you don't have to do anything for that. You learn as you really become more intimate with yourself how to allow transformation. How to allow yourself to be the beautiful, amazing being that you really are. Regardless of what you believe, regardless of what you think, regardless of what other people have told you, regardless of how your comparative mind has told you, I don't know how to say it. The comparative mind is that's like bad hypnosis. That's like bad advertising. As you learn to be present fully, the one that compares moves into the background. The one that judges moves into the background. The one that makes conclusions moves into the background, and then they all dissolve. Because they're useless. They're useless for freedom. They might be okay for making a better mousetrap. Then you can use those things. But to free your spirit and to open your heart, not helpful. What's helpful is, as I've often said, patience, forgiveness, compassion. Acceptance, which naturally opens our loving nature. And you can just feel that's when we're complete as a being, when that is accessible to us. When we can truly love and be loved on the personal and the infinite level, both. When we're not guarded. The way I describe it is that it's giving completely, totally, and receiving completely and totally. It's like you're in love. No, it is that you're in love. It's not like, it is. But it's in love without the fear of separation. It's in love that doesn't need anything. And I'd say when that's present, you're happy. Pretty happy. So, what you're doing here, you're just being here, naturally, even beyond your comprehension, cultivates that reality. And I know, because I've been at this a long time and I've worked with a lot of people, and it's incredible, continually incredible to see that happening. Even though at times it's a very bumpy, frustrating journey, painful. Just get back in the saddle and hang in there. Of course, when you're here and you're in it, or when you're in the space of awareness, and if you can tune into that here, great. Then just give yourself to that. Open into that presence, into that light. And then let whatever needs to move in your body, in your heart, in your mind, let it, see if it's moving and see what's holding it back. This wonderful young guy came up to, pretty young, I don't know how old he was, came up to work with me in Santa Cruz on Saturday. And since it's going to be in the podcast, I guess I can talk about it. And he said, I was really impressed. He came and said, I'm having trouble with compulsive behavior. What can I do? I disappear in it. And I said, well, what do you want? He said, well, I don't want to get caught in it. Something like that. I said, okay. I said, well, how do you feel about the fact that you get caught in it? Oh, I don't want that. It upsets, whatever, something like that upsets me. I said, that's what you want to pay attention to. Not the compulsive behavior. And something shifted, and there was some opening in the space right then. He got it. He was like lit up like a light bulb in his heart and spirit. We're always focused on changing the condition that we don't want, whatever it is we're feeling or thinking or something like that, or external stuff. And we focus on that. And it perpetuates in some way, and we don't know why. We think, well, I'm with the feeling. Isn't that what you said? Well, not quite. No. The feeling moves by itself. Be with what's stopping it, what doesn't want it. Or wants it. See, that's what Buddha pointed out, basically. Pay attention to the wanting and the not wanting. It's not that you don't have to have those things. They're human nature to have them. It's that you're unconscious in those. That's where you want to bring consciousness. Then everything shifts automatically. And probably all by itself in some miraculous way. The compulsive behaviors or those compulsions, like I said to him, you'll probably find out what's underneath. What's really moving the engine in the compulsive thing. So notice the resistance to the condition and bring awareness to that. That's the key to awakening. As soon as you bring awareness to the one that's struggling, in that moment, there'll be a moment of freedom. Bliss, connection, spaciousness, open-heartedness. You'll become more alive. You'll be more vibrant. You'll know. You'll know it's working. Okay. Wow. I seem to be developing the habit of chattering more here. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'll call on you, and or would like to sit together, or something you'd like to share. Keep in mind that we do podcast these talks eventually, so if you prefer your interaction not be on the recording, let us know and we will edit it, okay?
I can feel that there's a lot moving, and I want to have a story to tell about why, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, I'm glad that you don't know. And I'm glad that you know you want to. That's really progress. That means you're actually beginning to get grounded in being and letting the sort of I don't know what's going on, I think I should know, or I want to know, or that's okay. See, and then the emotions moving. I can see you're so ripe with warmth and love and movement. Yeah. Yeah.
Just feels so much pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Pain is a movement. It's not a stasis. It's not a location. I mean, certain pain can be really, certain kinds of pain, of course, but I'm speaking about this emotional movement right now. Yeah. You're opening more. Yeah. And sometimes that's like growing. It is like growing pains, actually.
It's funny because I was feeling like last week somehow I started feeling like sort of in the flow, and it was feeling, I think I'm starting to get something, and then
you are. You are. This is part of the course. This is exactly right. Openness allows more movement of what hasn't been open. We don't like that part. It's painful. But we trust it after a while. We begin to realize, okay, this is just how this works. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. This is when we understand the interface between the human conditional movement and the spiritual.
Yeah, it's like I can feel that part of me that wants to hold it back. Like
Exactly.
It feels unnatural to let it go.
Exactly. Just being aware of that, the one that's holding it back. Eventually that one will completely, forever, not hold back anymore. It won't be there anymore.
I can see parts of it peeking out.
Yeah.
It's
when
harder.
when that happens, it's freedom. It's it's liberation. Yeah, see, do you feel that? So then you know it's the truth. That expansion is an underline of the truth. Just like when somebody says something that's true for them, they naturally take a breath unconsciously. Just watch that in yourself or others. It's very interesting. When your friends are talking, all of a sudden they take a breath. It's like, oh, that was true for them, even though they didn't know it. That and the expansion into the light is also another sort of psychic biofeedback affirmation. Yeah. So when I say to people, you're on the right track, that's because I can feel and see this happening. I know they're working in the right direction. And I know when they're pulling back. There's no blame for that, obviously. We're not doing it intentionally. There's no blame at all. It's completely robotic. It's programmed. It's habitual.
Yeah, it's so deep. It's so deep.
Yeah, that's okay. Awareness permeates everything. That's the great part of it, is there's nothing that can resist it. A popular way of saying is the light always wins.
Mm-hmm.
And let's hope so. That's all I can say. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to get out and start getting the vote out. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting back in the streets.
Yeah, kidding.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are so welcome, Patricia.
Well, speaking of left field, just got hit with a rocket. Laid off.
Oh, boy. That's...
Well, I think part of me, my soul, sort of expected it.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost feel a sense of relief. And been feeling okay right now about it. Positive. Everything works out. There was a lot of synchronicity that happened with it. And actually opportunities are opening up already. And the mind still is trying to process the story and doing flips and stuff.
What's this doing?
It feels good. I've been feeding it, continuing to feed it as much love and caring as I can to not forget it.
Okay, is it releasing?
The heart releases too.
Good.
How do I know I guess the question is, with a lot of this stuff that's coming up and just the natural looking at things a positive way, I don't want to feel like there's a bypass that's happening.
That's what I was pointing out. That's what I was sensing, actually. Ooh. You don't want to just, look, what is it? Always look on the bright. Remember, did you ever see the Monty Python movie?
Yeah.
Always look on the bright side. One of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Those people all know what I'm talking about. There's times where you can be pissed off and hurt and upset and traumatized, and let them make sure you're not stuffing that one with, good feelings.
All right.
Whitewashing it. Just want to make sure you're not doing that. That's all. There, you're opening now. We want to honor the dark side too. Okay? The anger, the frustration, the fear, all of it. The grief, whatever it is. Good. You feel all that opening then? See, those parts got acknowledged. All that got acknowledged. That's why that opened. We often don't acknowledge all of it. It's everything needs to be acknowledged. Everything. Then it will all transform.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not caught in any of those identities.
Well, it feels like there's a death and a rebirth, or a
Okay, cool.
lovely day to die. Right?
Yeah. Just keep bringing attention in here, because I think this area has been a little something. I don't know.
Even with a lot of focus on it, which I have been with the breath, bringing.
Okay, don't
Bring-
push. Don't push. Don't push. I don't think it needs pushing. I think it needs a kind of bigger perspective, like open your field up wide, and then just notice what wants to give you a little kiss or something like that. Something in here wants to, it's sensitive. I can feel it coming forward a little bit.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah. Now there's more happening here. Can you feel that? Can you sense that?
There's a warmth here. There's
Yeah.
really feel it.
Right, it was dry or something before. I couldn't sense it at all. Let that speak to you rather than you speak to it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Listen to that. Yeah, okay. Hi there.
This is an experiment. Right now, I'm in this profound place of relaxation and openness. There's absolutely nothing wrong. And I'm coming off of a time of a lot of processing and contraction.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was in that contraction, I noticed that this is this pattern of opening and then this really, really tight, painful contraction. And that's when I run to you and run to people. What do I do? And just now I just got the sense of what would happen if I cultivated this, if I focused on this.
Exactly. That's what happens. And you're not trying. You're not in the way. See,
No.
this is what is called, what I call, moving towards a light. It isn't really a doing, but it is our essential nature. This is where it gets tricky, because the separate mind that has a will thinks it needs to do something, but you're not doing it. But you're allowed. You are it. You are the movement of it right now. Beautiful. See, it's illuminating the whole space.
My hands are hot.
Yeah, yeah. It's radiant. Very good. Thank you. So
It's a shift in focus.
yes, that's all freedom is. I mean, if that's a very simplistic way of saying it, but it's a shift in identity, actually,
Yeah.
from the personal to the infinite. Beautiful. Very good. See how close it is?
Yeah.
It's groovy. You look good. Really good.
Thank you for indulging this.
Oh, you're so welcome. Totally my pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, John.
Hi.
Some of what's been going on already with, especially this gentleman sitting here, I really had some help loosening up this hardness in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
But I need a little more.
Sure, of course. You know, it's funny because I thought of you today when I was at the grocery store. I bought another stuffed animal. I couldn't help it. It was a little lamb. And it's so cute. I should have brought it. It's so soft. It's got the cutest little face.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole zoo at home, I think. I thought of you, though. I got to show Markella this.
So, yeah, I know. Melty. Mm-hmm.
You know, those parts of us that are really often, I don't know what to call them, but tender. We need to recover our tenderness, our youngness. It's an innocence. Yeah. We can all of that comes back.
Mm-hmm.
All those things that have been traumatized and cut off and stuffed in the closet and marginalized and all of it, they all come back and get reintegrated.
Yeah. This past weekend, I was at my Tamalpa training,
Mm-hmm.
and we were working with addiction and trauma,
Mm-hmm.
with somatic work and
Mm-hmm.
creative arts.
Mm.
And this character emerged in a sort of a practice session that I totally recognize, sort of forgot is always there. This punk ass, impenetrable, arms crossed, fuck you, teenager. And I couldn't shut it off. And the people who were my coaches, I felt so bad for them because I couldn't participate. And then sitting here, I felt underneath that was this little toddler,
Yeah.
like in a garbage can, saying, "Pay attention to me." And that's when I started feeling that.
Take a breath through your mouth. Yeah. Breathing like that is like working with dry, like hard earth. You know, you break it up and you moisten it and you cultivate it. The breath cultivates the heart energy if it's blocked. It starts to open up the channels in there. You know, all through here.
Yeah, whatever was, it was flowing through him and flowing through Paige, but there was...
Yeah, of course, we're all, it's all of us. We are one body, one mind, one heart. Really, actually, one spirit. That's not some West
New Age
Coast
thingy,
crazy bullshit, even though it sounds like it.
Even in the New Age, there's a little truth.
It's not a belief. I'm just describing it. What's present. You can only describe what's present for you, and that will lead you, just like you are. See? That's why the relative truth will set you free, just like the infinite truth. It's the same. Good. More opening. Feel it? And there's some movement there. There's some pain that needs to move out of the... we have blocked stuff in our tissues, in our nervous, in our bones. It's in there. It can come out. It wants to come out. It needs to come out.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's more moist for sure.
Yeah, it's great. I can feel you. You're receiving more now. See, when this is shut down, can't receive. I understand. I went through with both of my middle fingers extended.
Yeah.
And the mouth was open, yelling at the same time.
Yeah.
It was the 60s. Here.
Well, I was in New Jersey, so
Okay.
we're born like that.
I know, I've been there. My parents were both born in New York, so I know.
Yeah, now I'm having some energy streaming.
Good. Yeah, no, I
Hands.
can tell. I can feel it. See, you're not only receiving, you're also giving. I mean, I don't mean that in some personal sense, but I'm describing energetically what's happening, what I'm sensing and feeling on a deep level, you might say. Yeah. Good. Yeah, good. That's great. Just letting it come. how it works. Much bigger. Much bigger.
I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So welcome. Yeah, you're so welcome. I just want to thank all of you, each and every one of you, because you being here and opening into the space provides a kind of evocation of what we call teaching. It's not really a volitional thing at all. It really is an inspired, channeled unfoldment. And you are completely a part of that, actually. You're very much facilitated, actually. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what I was doing. It's kind of remarkable. So it's we really do, in a very deep way, enlighten each other. It's pretty amazing. Even in the expression of our pain, when it's truly expressed, it liberates not just our personal self, but everyone. How as we awaken, everyone awakens. It's really beautiful. So you're really helping not just yourself, but everyone. And I'm so grateful to you and your presence here and your openness, even in the face of resistance that you may be having or struggle in one way or another. Even that is welcome here. It's all welcome here. So I'm really, I love being here with you deeply. And you are being guided home, without a doubt. So may you continue to find the ability to trust that movement within you. And I look forward to seeing you as soon as possible, whenever that is. And in the meantime, very happy trails. Thank you.